Let's get to
So
this album though, man.
yeah. Ride
Yeah,
all summer, man.
let's get to it. What's the title all about? And what's the inspiration behind this album, this project?
The inspiration behind this album was just really just putting out good summer vibes, man. Something smooth you could play at the cookout. I wanted to make music that reminded me of the music I grew up listening to with family and friends, especially during the times I was growing up and formulating my own opinion on life and the pursuit of happiness. And we got a lot of different vibes from smooth R&B, trap, soul to straight up, old school trap music. We got like a lot of new type of shit, like real slizzy vibes, real up tempo. We keep it in the party, but there's substance at every corner. There's not a single song on there that's fluff. Every word I put on there, I meant, so look for that.
How did you get into that skill set where you were able to have so much range and ability?
Really just being open minded to music. Like in high school, I listened to everything all my friends were listening to, but then I listened to everything that was whack to them as well. Like I wasn't trying to fit in back then. So like my 15th birthday, my mom bought me Queen's Greatest Hits. Cause I begged for, We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions, Another One Bites the Dust. I studied those kind of records, like records that were big in commercial success as well as big in personal impact and outreach. And I'm kind of trying to recreate that for myself. And yeah.
So you study actual music. Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
not a situation where you just listening to what you
No,
like.
no.
You
I
study it.
started playing music at 5 years old. Like the choice was piano or violin. Like not playing an instrument was not a choice in my household. That was law. That was mandatory. So I played violin from about 5 to 14. Being a teenager, an early teenager, I started to become more self-aware, and really, I realized there weren't a lot of black males around me doing what I was doing. I got into the Cleveland Music Settlement Youth Orchestra. I was pretty good. I was the second violinist. Um, you know, Probably one of maybe three black males in that whole section. And just being 14, I'm into girls, I wanted something different for myself. And I made a hard pivot towards this and I never turned back.
How many different instruments can you currently play?
Violin, a little piano. I could get on the drums, guitar. Guitar is my primary instrument that I play now. And I was really good at violin. So if I picked it up for about a month, I'd be right back at it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Guitars, man. That was if I could play any instrument, that would definitely be the
Oh
guitar,
yeah.
man. It's
That's
just something about
it
them
can sing.
strings, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very special instrument. It comes from the mother continent where all life comes from, Africa. And it's an instrument of rhythm. It's an instrument that morphs depending on who's holding it. Guitar sounds different. You hear a jazz guitarist, a black guy from a certain time and place, he plays a certain kind of way. You hear a blues guitarist, you got black bluesmen and white bluesmen, they play a certain kind of way. You know what I'm saying? A heavy metal guitarist ain't a punk rock
Right.
guitarist. It's not a reggae guitarist.
Yeah.
But then you got reggae guitarists that are good punk rock guitarists. Like it's a language. Yeah, man. I
No,
love
for real.
guitar.
No,
Yeah,
for real.
yeah, for sure.
Now I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'm noticing the whole vibe that you got going on. You giving me some Terrence Howard vibes, the real high energy, high vibration vibes. I'm noticing the medallions, the jewels.
For sure.
What type of spiritual lane not only are you on, but how does that play into the music that you put out?
I mean, I believe in a higher power, God the creator. You know, I believe that we are all beings of light, and we were put here to learn and help one another move forward and progress and gain more knowledge. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to learn from everybody out here, and I'm here to teach as well. You know, it's a give and take situation. So that's what I'm on.
We're gonna get back to the album. I do want to
Yes, sir.
ask you. I just recently figured out that you was from the Heights, man. So it's
Yes, sir.
always good to sit
Born
down
and raised.
with a fellow brethren from the Heights, man.
Yeah.
The one and only the Heights.
Yeah, man.
What type of influences and the type of situation that you had growing up in the Heights? Because Heights is very diverse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How did that play into your sound?
Man, I mean, just being in the Heights, you know, I met all kinds of kids, different backgrounds. I'd be able to trade CDs. You know, I would have a Jay-Z CD. I'd trade it for this rock CD that a kid was listening to. And, you know, I would get, you know, just different perspectives on things, man. Especially when I was in high school, there was a really cool music scene around here. Shout out to GF Goodfellas. They was one of the first groups around this neighborhood that I saw actively like branding and marketing themselves, and where I looked and I was like, oh, that's something to do. So shout out to them. My dude Maul G, Ski Mask Marley, STR, J Ball. Those were dudes that were influences to me around this neighborhood, and just, you know, being able to watch them do their thing motivated me to push forward. I've always loved this neighborhood. It's a melting pot. You come to the Heights and you get a perspective on what the real world is like.
Facts.
As far as connections,
yeah,
and things like that. You could go to different neighborhoods. Everything has a different feel, and Cleveland is wonderful overall, but the Heights is the real melting pot of the city.
When I listened to the album, there was 2 tracks that I listened to that stood out.
Okay.
Had to ask you about these 2
sure.
tracks.
Yes, sir.
Because I feel like these 2 tracks connect in a lot of ways. So I'm anxious to hear how they connect. The first one was, I think it was track 14. It's titled 07.
Okay.
And then the next one, 15, is Insane.
Okay.
Both them tracks hit.
Okay.
They spoke to me in a different way, but I want to hear the inspiration, man.
07 and in parentheses, RP Shawty Lo, Immortal Shawty Lo. That was just a spirit, that was a vibe. Trap music was its purest back then. You know, if you really love rap, street rap, southern rap, you know, like 06, 07, 08, that was that golden time. Went to the 1079 birthday bash at the Agora, and Shawty Lo performed, and that was one of the most epic shows I've seen in my life. When you're talking about crowd control, you could talk about people being MCs and who's not, and what internet personalities and all of that stuff. When that man jogged out on stage, you know, he used to do his little dance. By the time he got to the big up to all my haters, it was like that's what Moses was doing, parting the Red Sea. The crowd control. It was spiritual.
Yeah.
You feel me? Immortal Shawty Lo. So I just wanted to recapture that feeling, where I was at mentally back in 07. I wanted to take all the cats that was here kind of back to that vibe and really give them something raw and real. Take it back to that mixtape era.